Bam. Welcome to another edition of Gen Sports Corner back at you for September 29th, 2022. I'm your host, Jen. My co-host right to my right. Introduce
Brian
yourself.
Sportscast. What's going on, everybody?
Absolutely, man. And, we're going to talk about, what's going on in the NFL this week, man. Eagles come out with a statement win versus the Commanders. Still not used to that name, but it is what it is.
Who is?
Ginger Jesus came back to Washington, and he didn't do nothing. And we got a chance to see what this Eagles defense is about, and they came out and they showed out. What you think about that, bro?
I thought the defensive line was absolutely ridiculous that game, but I mean, it just shows you how bad, even worse, that the Commanders' offensive line is. I mean, they just immediately you can tell how bad they were, but let's not get it twisted. Our defensive line is absolutely stacked, and I just saw Brandon Graham. He got 2.5 sacks. He got a strip. He got I think a strip sack one time. Like you get 9 total sacks on this dude, and there was just times where he was in his old habits. He was holding on to the ball too long, trying to be a hero. He still do the same stuff. But of course he was probably rattled too because our defense was in his face all day. So he couldn't do much, man.
I can't put that on once because you look at that old line. They didn't block any. You put anybody behind that starting five, they don't make it out of that game.
Yeah, good point. Yeah, definitely. Actually, yeah, the more I think about it, the offensive line was just atrocious.
They were bad. Um, so I think I'm not talking about you, but I think a lot of Eagles fans are going to be quick to jump on once and say, "Hey, he is who we thought he was." And the
Hmm.
truth of the matter is, they did not block Sweat or Graham or Fletcher Cox, who had what 2, 3 sacks in that game.
Yeah.
They didn't block anybody. He
Hmm.
had about 2.5 to maybe 3 seconds to scan down the field before somebody was on his jersey. You can't do
Yeah.
it. I don't care if you're Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, Aaron Rodgers, Pat Mahomes. Doesn't matter who you are. You're going to
Hmm.
on your back with grass stains on your jersey.
Yeah. When you don't have time like that, it's kind of hard to set your feet and throw the football. And it's like the more I think about it, yeah, you're definitely right about that because he had zero time, like you said. Literally, there was times where he had 2 seconds and like 3 seconds. He could not like do anything.
What were the
It's
rushing stats from the day? Antonio Gibson had 12 rushes for 38 yards. He had a touchdown in the red zone, but come on now.
yeah,
12 rushes, 38 yards, 3.2 yards per carry. They did not run the ball well at all. The same way
mhm.
as we saw with the week before? Who was it? Not Detroit. Oh, the Vikings.
Dalvin Cook.
The Vikings. Dalvin Cook had what,
Yeah,
6 or 7 carries in that game?
yeah, he didn't have much.
They got on their heads so fast that they had to abandon the running game. We saw the same thing with the Commanders. They could not run the ball, and all the Eagles were able to do was pin their ears back. I should rephrase that. It's not all they were able to do. It was to their luxury that they could pin their ears back and just get after whoever a nameless, faceless quarterback with a number on his jersey. Doesn't matter who it is. They're pinning their
Yeah.
ears back, shutting down a run, and then going after the quarterback. So
Hmm.
what do you expect Carson Wentz or Mahomes or Josh Allen to
Anything.
do, right?
Yeah,
And I'm just throwing out random names there, and I'm not saying that the outcomes would be the same.
yeah.
However, if you do not protect the quarterback, it doesn't matter who you have behind center. Jalen
Hmm.
Hurts. If you have pressure on Jalen Hurts in the pocket, you're getting there within 2.5, 3 seconds is going to be an issue throughout the
Yeah.
game, unless you're
Yeah,
running the ball consistently. And if you're not running the ball consistently, guess what? You're one dimensional. So
it's gonna be a problem.
you look at the Eagles, the Eagles, Carson Wentz was 25 for 43, 211 yards, no touchdowns, no picks, but he got sacked, like you said, 9 times. Crazy for 58 yards loss. And he did not run the ball well at all. Curtis Samuels shut down. Between Avante Maddox and Bradbury, they took him out the game. Terry McLaurin, Slay said, stop it, right?
Hmm.
Because we saw Terry McLaurin have some success in his rookie season against Darius Slay, but subsequently he's done nothing, quiet, right?
Yeah.
So you take those guys out, what are you going to do? There's nobody to throw to. Nobody.
It just ain't happening, bro. I'm telling you, Darius Slay is on a different like mode this year. He looks more polished than I think he has. Like, I mean, he's always been good. Don't get it twisted, but he seems like he's taken his game, or maybe he's just more comfortable in the scheme. I don't know what it is. All I know is he has looked phenomenal in these past couple games.
We're going to put some credit on James Bradbury's name because I think the fact that he's locking down the left side of the field is forcing quarterbacks to go back over to Darius Slay.
Mm-hmm.
Not just Bradbury, but they look in the slot and they try to test. They say we don't want to go to Bradbury. That's not a good sign. We don't want to go to Slay. That's very bad news. Let's go to Devontae Maddox. Let's give him some interceptions and some knockdowns because we can't beat him one-on-one. So now they have to really take some chances going to Slay. And now his skill level is really being put on display because guys are having to take shots at him now. Right?
Mm-hmm.
You look at like Deion Sanders when he was with the Falcons and the Cowboys, who was on the other side. They didn't have any exceptional or even notable players line across from him. It was Deion Sanders. That's why he became known as the shutdown corner because they said we're going to go to the left side. At least we have a shot versus go to Deion, no shot. Now you go to the left, it's Bradbury. We go to the slot, bam, we have guys in the slot. We have Curtis Samuels on Maddox. No, we that's not a good matchup.
No.
You know what I mean?
No.
I mean, you look at Jalen Hurts contrastly, and he was 22 for 35, 340 yards, 3 touchdowns in the air, only sacked 3 times for 12 yards. And he had a quarterback rating of 123.5. Miles Sanders, 15 carries, 46 yards, 3.1 yards per carry. Not a notable day, but they were staying committed to the run game. And they just pounded the rock and just beat that team down. And yeah, the score was 24-8, but it was much wider than the score would suggest.
Oh yeah.
And they got their 6 points. They had a safety because we were backed up, and they got 6 points near the end of the game. So like the score was really not close. It was a down. It was a very, very decisive win.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. I mean, right in the second half, even when we couldn't score in the second half, I just think we were playing to keep that lead. As long as they're not gaining momentum, getting points on the board, even though I do think you should put some more points on the board, make sure you bury them into the ground and just to where they can't come back. But as long as you're running that clock down, you're keeping control of the game. That's really all that matters because, the defense was on its game. And that's why I think, they just seemed. Do you think they were conservative in the second half?
I think that they went with a more run-based approach. If you call it conservative, I would agree with that to a certain extent. But that's who they are at their core. So is it really conservative? There could be an argument made there.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that their MO is from the opening whistle to the closing whistle, they want to run the ball down your throat and make you give up. Okay. They have the weapons to hurt you in between. They want to take shots downfield. And I would really classify this offense as a power run offense. They set their passes up off of the run. They'll grind you into the dirt. And then as soon as you start overcommitting to the run, they're going to take their shots over the top with Devontae Smith, AJ Brown, and Devontae Smith. I mean, he just went off. I mean, come on, 8 catches, 169 yards, 21 yards per catch, and 1 touchdown, including the 1 touchdown that he had, and including the other catch that he got stopped at the 1 yard line where he leaped up over the defender. I mean, how do you stop this offense, right? When you got guys going up and plucking the ball out the air, one-on-one, right? Because you want to get those one-on-one matchups because you have to sell out against the run, and then that's what happens.
Mm-hmm.
Because not only do you have to sell out against the run and try to sell out against Miles Sanders, you have to sell out against the read option against Jalen Hurts. And then when he gets outside the pocket, his accuracy and his vision has gotten better to the point where he can hit those guys downfield and you see the results, not just against the Commanders, but you saw it against the Vikings.
Oh yeah, yeah. His vision is much more improved. Like you said, like there was a point where he wasn't looking at one. I forget what side you said, but there was a certain part of the field where he wasn't looking at. And in the Tampa Bay game in the playoffs, they took out that we're not going to pay attention to this side. We're just going to pay attention to this. And that's what really frustrated him in that game is he couldn't do anything. And now his vision is so much more improved. It's like, what do you do? Like all the weapons they have, like Devontae Smith is he's a different animal. You have two #1 wide receivers with AJ Brown and Devontae Smith. What are you gonna do? Like, and then
We
you
got
don't
skinny,
forget
we
about
got
Clay.
skinny, we got skinny Batman, we got fast Batman, we got swole Batman. Those are the 3 Batmans right now.
Yes, sir. I need Cape, man.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Look, he's gotten better. There's still things that he's working on that he needs to tighten up that you can see him improving upon in the games.
Oh
And
yeah,
that's what excites me the most. It's the fact that he is cognizant of the things of the weak spots that he has, and you can see the improvements that he's making game to game. That's what's really the most exciting because you have a lot of guys, you're driving in a Ferrari and somebody pulls up on your left side, but you have a blind spot, you don't even see him coming.
mm-hmm.
Right? You're in a luxury sports car, and for most circumstances, you're going to be fast enough to just nobody's going to be messing with you.
Right.
Period. You don't have to worry about what's going on your blind spots. But if you are the best of the best, and you are aware of the few weak spots that you have, then that's what really makes you dangerous.
Oh, for sure, man. He just like you said, it's not perfect yet, but and what's really has taken a big leap too is his leadership and just of how this is a guy I see taking accountability at week to week. He said, we still haven't, set the standard. They haven't reached their the standard or I think something like that. And don't be the thermometer, be the thermostat. Or what was it?
Yeah,
Don't be a
you
thermostat,
got
be
it
the
right. You got it right.
thermometer.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
got it right.
yeah.
No, no, no,
But
no, 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 no. Don't be the thermometer, be the
be the
thermostat.
thermostat. Yeah. Like things like I messed that up, but whatever. You get what I'm saying. But
Yeah.
like, it's little things like that. Just the accountability he takes, not like, oh, I gotta, like Wentz, I gotta be better. I have to be better next game. I have to be better. Like you don't hear that from Hurts. You hear it in his voice. He has accountability. He wants to be better. He wants to get this team to where it needs to be. And that's the big thing with him.
So I have a question. What would, and I'm not on one side of the fence or the other, what would Wentz have to say or do for you to believe him in the way that you believe Jalen Hurts or somebody else?
I hear more emphasis in Jalen Hurts's speeches, like in his press conferences. I felt like there's more energy from him. What Wentz, it's just like the same thing every time. Like I got to be better. I got to be better. It's just for me. I got to see. I really got to like. I don't know, just some more about. I feel like you're taking accountability. It almost sound like in his voice, it's just like I don't know. It's hard to explain, but it's just
My question would be, what if you have a guy who sounds the part but does not get it done week after week? Does that change your viewpoint? Or
it does. Yeah.
so yeah, that's really my question is he is walking the talk. I understand that. But
Mm-hmm.
I'm truly fascinated by what connects with people verbally versus before what they see what happens on the field.
Right.
Right. Because you can sound like you don't really have the answers, Sway. Right.
Mm-hmm.
But you go out on the field and you're just a Terminator, you're a machine, you're an android, like nothing phases you. Or it could be the exact opposite. You say, yeah, we gotta get it done, or blah blah blah, or I see what happened, I'm gonna fix it, and nothing, you don't make the changes.
Mm-hmm.
or you could be the guy who walks the walk as well as talks the talk. So
Right.
I'm truly fascinated, and especially with Philly, because and this is a pet peeve of mine, and people, I'm the type of person personally where if something goes wrong, I'll smile because I'm pissed off, right?
Mm-hmm.
I won't show my anger in the moment, but I think a lot of people will take that, extrapolate, and say he doesn't care,
Mm-hmm. I
right?
get what you're saying.
I think a lot
Yeah.
of people saw that in Donovan. They're saying he throws a ball into the dirt and he smiles and pats his chest, and they're looking like he doesn't care, he doesn't get it.
Right.
And I understand the emotion behind it, but I think a blind spot with the fans is that they don't understand that passion can be shown in different ways. I think
Mm-hmm.
Philadelphia is a rah-rah, wear your emotions on your sleeves type of town. Not a city, a town, a big ass town, but a town. We're a very
Mm-hmm.
close-knit community. And if you don't show your emotions in a certain way, they don't think you're authentic. They
Mm-hmm.
don't buy it. They're like, oh, he's a phony, man.
Right.
And I see, I'm not, the jury is out, not out on Wentz for me. I
Mm-hmm.
still think he's a very good quarterback, and I think that he says what he means and he means what he says. I don't think that he's fronting or faking or frauding. I think when he says that we need to do better, I think he goes back into that locker room and he's the first one in and the last one out.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think you've seen any of those things in Washington that you've seen in Indianapolis. Like we haven't heard any of those rumblings
Mm-hmm.
out. Now maybe we will, maybe we won't, but you
Right.
know, even I'm saying that because even with Jalen Hurts, because everything's going well right now. What about when things not go bad, but when things kind of level out for a little bit? Maybe we may have some up and downs. What do the fans say then when he gives the same responses in his press conferences? Will we have different feelings on those things, right? They're like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, but when you were doing great and you were saying those things and you were, being accountable, we loved you. But now when you're, let's say you're down low, or maybe you're just hovering at treading water, now are you going to have that same energy? That's my question.
That's a very fair point. Because yeah, you actually do make that's actually a very good take. It's yeah, because I just felt like at times maybe I look too much into it. Like because I see a lot of stuff people saying he doesn't seem like he cares. He goes in the locker room. He just says I got to be better, but he's never better. But the truth is, you could be right. It's might be he's showing his emotions differently. That's the way he's showing it. Of course he's frustrated. You know,
I'll
you,
give
you
you
never.
I'll give you a good comparison. I don't know if you're familiar. I know you know Muhammad Ali, but Joe Frazier, complete opposite.
Hmm.
From Philly, like he represented Philly, right? Joe Frazier from gym in Philly, famous gym, right?
Yeah.
Joe Frazier was the quiet, like grinded out, working hard type of guy, like Philly type of guy, right? Whereas Muhammad Ali wasn't from Philly, but he's the type of personality that would have fit perfectly in Philly. Talks
Hmm.
trash, backs it up, just but when he gets in the trenches, he's there with you. He's gonna get you the F up out of there, right? But the first fight, Joe Frazier won, right?
Hmm.
He wasn't braggadocious, he wasn't talking trash. Muhammad Ali in his face, making derogatory comments. He had the resume to back it up. I say what I'm going to do, then I knock you out in the first round. That type of guy, right? Versus Joe Frazier, just sitting there, just you can see the steam coming off his head, but he's not really engaging with him. But when he gets in that ring, animal unleashed.
Yeah.
That's more what I relate with. I'm not saying I don't relate with the latter. However, um, I think there needs to be uh there there needs to be a better understanding of what a raw intensity is. Raw intensity can be loud and braggadocious, but loud intensity can be quiet. But when I get in that ring, there's no apology. As soon as I hit you with that punch, Don't apologize. It's not like it was promotion or fun and games. No, I'm going to
Yeah.
hurt you. We're not going to talk it out until the fight's over. But I'm going to embarrass you now. The words don't mean nothing. I'm going to really hurt you now. It's no take it easy. No. So that's more the mindset I come from.
Right.
But
Yeah.
I
Fair
see both
point.
sides though. I think both sides are I wouldn't say valid, but effective.
Hmm.
But I think Philly has one way of doing things, and they don't understand any other way but that way.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely a fair point. Yeah. Definitely. Because I definitely see where you're coming from. Because, like you said, people show emotions differently. Like people show, when they lose a game, they react differently. Like you said, he's high right now. He's taking accountability. He's taking great leadership. What's going to happen when he falls? So, I mean, yeah, that is a fair point. What's going to happen then?
Yeah. The guys that are quiet, but they don't give me that I won't be denied. Even though
Hmm.
you're quiet, you still don't have it. You don't have that I won't be denied. Okay. Just because you're quiet doesn't mean that you have this secret that I don't know about yet that you're going to unleash onto the public. No. Like you have to have some answers,
Yeah.
whether you're being vocal about it or not, right?
Mhm.
But if you don't have answers, if you're vocal about it, you don't have the answers, then the truth will be revealed soon enough, right? If you're
Yeah.
not vocal about it and you don't have answers, you'll just keep seeing a declining slope game after game after game after game, right?
Mhm.
So you have to show that you actually are working towards the answers or you have a workable plan. Okay.
Mhm.
I see that in Jalen Hurts. I still see that in Carson Wentz, me personally. I think that they're going to be a formidable opponent in this NFC East because I don't think that the Giants, they're rebuilding, they're on their way out the door. The Cowboys, they got their win against the Giants. The Giants suck.
Yeah.
Yes. Whatever his name is, doesn't matter. He's a solid, serviceable backup. He'll get you 1 to 3 wins, especially over the Giants, but they're
Rush
gonna
it.
crumble. You've seen the issues even when Dak was in. You have CD Lamb, but you have nobody else. Zeke Elliott, a good running back. He's not what he was before. And I mentioned that last year. He's a good running back, but there's a reason why they integrated a running back by committee approach with Tony Pollard because they saw it last year. I'm not dumb. I seen what they seen. And it's
Mhm.
not going if you have bad knees, they don't get better over time. Only thing you can do is maintain what you have. You cannot improve it unless you get a bionic knee transplanted into your leg. Other than that, it's not going to happen.
Mhm.
So Cowboys, they are that last year in the playoffs. I think that was their apex, their crescendo, and they'll be solid this year, but they're starting a slow decline as their offensive line gets older, ages, gets injuries. Tyron Smith getting older. Jason Peters is going to be starting before you know it. Mark my
Mhm.
word, he'll be a left tackle by week 8. Tyron Smith is breaking down. And
Yeah.
then what else do they really have? They don't really have a defense. You have Micah Parsons, you have Diggs, and then Trayvon Diggs, right? And then you have Vander Esch, a linebacker. He's good, but he's not Luke Kuechly like they keep trying to make him out to be.
No.
They have a solid run defense, but over the top, outside of Trayvon Diggs, they are really susceptible.
Oh
And like,
yeah.
okay, like you put Trayvon Diggs on AJ Brown, you're gonna die against Devontae Smith, and vice versa. You put Trayvon Diggs on Devontae Smith, you're gonna die against AJ Brown. And then who's gonna cover Dallas Goddard? Pick your poison. So I believe it's my hierarchy is the Eagles, the Commanders, well, Eagles, Cowboys, Commanders, neck and neck, and then the Giants, they're going to fall off. They're 2-1, but not for long.
Yeah, they're not that. They're not. They are. Shaquan Barkley is what carries that team, and that's it. And that's not
Right.
gonna. That's not gonna get you very far.
Exactly. They need to trade him to the Eagles.
Yeah, that'd be nice, right? you want
Because
you
what
you
else do
won't have
they
to
have?
carry the Eagles.
No, no. I mean, I'm not even being facetious. I mean, Daniel Jones is. They're seeing. They're swallowing that bitter pill that Daniel Jones is not the future, so they have to rebuild coming up pretty soon. Kenny Galladay, they signed him to a big deal. He could barely get 2 snaps in the second game, and then the third game against the Cowboys, he drops a critical pass. So like their cap is screwed. So look, they're not going to do it, but look, if I had my pick between Miles Sanders and Saquon Barkley, no offense, yo, don't come after me, but
Barkley,
you,
it's Barkley all day.
you put Saquon Barkley with Jalen Hurts, wow, come on now,
Forget about it.
it's over. And that
That's
line, it's over, bro.
that's not even fair. Like AJ Brown, like you think about it, AJ Brown, Devontae Smith, Shaquan Barkley, like just those three people in my head. Just how do you defend that? Like,
Look,
it's
Miles Sanders, his best course of action is to have the best year of his career right now because you have the offensive line that's going to carry you for the next 3 to 4 years, along with a wide receiving core and a running back who has legs. Well, you better do everything within your power. Because look, I threw that out there, but truth be told, I want to see you be great. But Ryan, to Jen right here, we want to see you be great, man. Be great, my dude, because this is your shot to be a Philly legend. Like
yeah,
I know you know this. Make it happen. All right. So
yeah, for real.
yeah, so we got the game coming in next week against Jacksonville. Underrated team. They just finished blowing out. Who was it? They blew out last week. Was
The
it the Colts?
Chargers.
Chargers? Yeah,
Yeah,
that pass rush of the Chargers did nothing against Trevor Lawrence, which is crazy to me. Khalil Mack, Bosa, they was quiet, man. Was it 38-10? Something like that?
yeah, 38-10.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. They got the brakes beat off them, man.
Yeah, that's just it just goes to show how good this Jaguars team. That like you said, they're very underrated. They're under the radar. It's this team. I think they're going to be good this year. I think we got to watch out for these guys, man.
Yeah, we do. We do. And
Yeah.
I think that the Eagles are a better team. I think they'll be prepared. They're not going to be sleeping on them because we're a young team. We're not established in our division, yet alone the NFC yet. So I think we're going to come out and we're going to be strong. We're going to we're not going to overlook them. I don't see.
I don't see them doing that, especially that team just that they seem right now not to overlook anybody because they know any given Sunday that and what benefits them big though is they're playing in their home. That link right now is home field advantage. That's a link. I'm almost feeling like is that like the 12th man? Is that's how good home field advantage is for the link right now?
It could be. You never know, but
But
they're looking mighty good at home, man. They got the one. Come on, man. We're 2-0 on the road, which we have not been good on the road in the past couple years. So but they look strong. And not they didn't just win, they look strong. I mean, even against the Lions, like they had no reason coming back in that game.
no,
Should have
no,
locked the game up in a solid win.
yeah.
So we came back and we took that on the Vikings in the same division, took it out on NFC North. And then we came back the week later, and then it really should have been 24-2, if not 24-0 in that game versus the Commanders.
Mm-hmm.
On the road, mind you.
Yeah.
Right? So I think they'll be ready. I don't think they're going to get caught off guard. You come
No.
back home versus Jacksonville, and you put a spanking on them. And then the week after that, you have Arizona, which they're not going to have DeAndre Hopkins yet. So you're going to be looking at Hollywood Brown and the rest of that offense that's been struggling, inconsistent. So 5-0, look, I'm not one to really get ahead of myself, but I think 4-1 is realistic. That's what I look at realistically.
Yeah. That sounds about right to me.
And you'll be the class of the NFC.
For real. It's
So,
uh
so
it's
that's what we have for this episode. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Let me know if you agree with what we say, if You think that we're completely out of our fucking minds, out of our skulls? Let me know what you think is going to happen next week versus the Jacksonville Jaguars. If you think Trevor Lawrence is going to come out looking like Joe Montana, or we're going to make him look average. And we'll be at you in the next episode. Catch y'all later, man. Peace.
Peace.